Retro. Retro.
G'day everyone, welcome back to the Late Afternoon Glass Off. My name's Finley. As always, I'm joined here by my good friend Zach Whiteman.
Afternoon, Finley.
What's been going on, Zach?
Put a fork in me, I am cooked. Been at the beach all week, and we had round one of Liba, big Liba and little Liba. So, huge weekend.
Vice President.
Yeah, newly appointed vice president.
Yep.
Bit of a change up at the club. Bit of a new era going on is what's kind of being tossed out there.
Yeah, it's a revolution.
It's exciting, and round one kicked off as well as it could have. It was perfect.
It was pumping.
Waves were pumping. We had 107 athletes.
It's nuts.
I don't think we'll call them athletes, but Live Heats calls them athletes.
Some of them are athletes.
Some of them are athletes.
Some of them aren't.
Some of the heats were fucking stacked.
Oh,
We had previous CT runner-up. No, not runner-up. Almost runner-up.
Third place.
Third placer.
yeah,
At Snapper in the likes of Stuart Kennedy.
yeah.
We also have current Challenger Series surfer, Mikey Madonna.
Yeah.
Lennox Smith.
Winner of Snapper Rocks.
Yep.
Lennox Smith, third in the world juniors recently.
Yep.
Some very high caliber surfers getting around, and you, my friend, found yourself in runner-up position at the end of the day.
I did.
How are you feeling?
I paid the judges.
He's got a bit of nepotism, vice president situation
I
going
was
on.
frothing. I felt like I was surfing good, but then I was kind of like, do you reckon they are throwing like a 0.5 on because I'm vice president?
No, mate, you're ripping.
Yeah, who
Absolutely
knows?
ripping.
But
yeah,
yeah, big weekend. Really, really stoked on how it went and the turnout. And then today was at Little Bar. So good to see the young Roms coming up through the ranks.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm well and truly sunburnt. I have a burnt lip. I haven't had a burnt lip, like a blister burnt lip in probably like 15, 20 years. Like,
Yeah,
you're looking so bad.
You're looking roasted, mate. And
Yep.
it's good to see. It shows you've been out, getting amongst it. Really
Definitely.
Impressive on both ends, both competing and then just showing face at the young crew. They would have been stoked to have you there. So
Kissing babies' heads this morning.
yeah, shaking hands, kissing babies.
Yeah.
As was the old Prime Minister of Australia the other day in Lennox. I don't know if anyone heard about that, but
Why was he here?
Albo was here. I don't know, but he was. I saw him pull up outside my work, and it was confusing. But anyway, just on the shaking hands, kissing babies talk, he was in Lennox Head. Don't know why.
Also, pretty big moment out of Lebar, probably the talk of the town. You had a little bit of a, what would you call it? With a fellow competitor.
Look,
by
we
the
had
name of Stewie.
we had a pretty stacked quarterfinal heat.
It was fucking hard.
Me-
I was shitting myself paddling out with that one.
The quarterfinal heat. So this is dead set round 2, by the way. Zach Whiteman, Lennox Smith, Evan McGregor, who is like local Goofyfoot Lord, rules the point. Northwall, Sonny Russell's the same. I think he was on tour for a bit.
Some sort of tour.
Yeah, he was really good back in his day, and he's really good now, by the way. He was absolutely ripping on the weekend. And
Yourself?
myself and Stuart Kennedy. Me and Stewie, and look, we left it all out there. It was fine. We had a bit of a scuffle mid-heat, though. It was pretty crazy. I'm usually very relaxed, and I don't tend to sort of find conflict wherever I go. I try to avoid it, and I did. I got a wave, paddled back out, and this next one came. It was such a nice little peak, and it sort of came in between me and Stu.
Can I just add, there's no priority at a club.
Yeah, no, zero prior. It's a 6-man heat too, so I was out there. Like, of the surfers in the heat, I was the one that really needed someone to go my way. So I was I was trying everything in my power to make that heat, and paddle back out after a wave, and this nice little peak sort of popped up, probably closer to me than Stu, and I was in the spot immediately, and Stu was just motoring across.
I saw him full motorboating
Like
so far
like an
from
army
up
shit.
the beach, and I was like, oh,
It was
this
nuts.
will be. I was running my hands together. This will be interesting.
Yeah, and we dead set, like, I think he was trying to make it look like he was going left, and I was like, generally in that situation, I'm backing out 9 times out of 10, 10
I know.
times out
I
of
was
10.
thinking Finley's pulling out of this.
And
He's
I was
going to
like-
abort mission.
I was like, I'm actually going to go this time, and got me head down, stroked into it, and I could feel I was under him enough so that I could get to my feet before him and get going, and the left was no good. So I don't think there was any chance of a double interference. It was probably going to go my way more than his. He was going to be the one that got the interference. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm into this. I'm going. No prio. And I went, and he wasn't stoked about it.
He was fucking upset.
He was not happy, but it was sweet.
There was words exchanged.
I patted back out, and I was like, mate, you would have done the exact same thing to me. And he sort of just like nodded. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. But
What did he say? Come on.
Oh, we'll leave it out in the water. What goes on the water stays in the water. But it was pretty funny. But
we'll roll the clip. We've got a clip.
There's a clip. I'll put it in. It's pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
I'll put it in here now.
But yeah, crazy. Round one
straight into the thick of things. Quarterfinal, not like dead set round 2, and we found ourselves. In
round 1 of the year, round 2 of the day.
Round 2 of competition.
Shit was fucking getting heated straight away.
Yeah, it was good to see, but it's like it was dead set like a QS. It was so good.
Yeah,
love that. Like you can do your clubby heats and sort of you can sort of have fun, but I think it's good to take it seriously. You got to treat it like a comp. You got really good surfers in your heat. You want to try and beat them.
Exactly. I spoke to Sonny Russell, and Sonny said, look, I was a pest out there to Harry O'Brien.
I got personally victimised by Sonny Russell that day. Like, heavy.
The victim is now victimising.
Yes.
Wow, tables are turned. But yeah, he was under the impression, he said, look, I am just absolutely paddling rings around Harry because he's going to have to deal with this in the QS on the Challenger Series. So he said he might as well learn now.
For sure.
It's an interesting take on it, but it's kind of true.
Learn the hard way. It's a good way to do it.
So yeah, that was Lebar, and then little Lebar. None of that happened this morning.
No.
Groms are just frothing, they're getting pushed in.
Yeah.
And I seriously think 15 Groms rode away from out the back to the shore, and just they're like locked in.
Yeah.
Just they're not moving, just straight to the beach, and it's pretty cool that length of ride is part of the criteria.
Got to be at that age, and it's sick to see. They all got there. I saw on Woody's story there were the juice vouchers for doing well.
we had a lot of good sponsors this year, so big shout out to those guys. But I've been in this game for 5 minutes and I'm burnt to the crisp.
Yeah.
I'm mentally and physically exhausted. So to all the crew out there that actually do it day in, day out, fucking hats off to you because it ain't easy. So,
and I can vouch for that. I judged a heap of heats next to Zaki. It was pretty green on the job still. It was early days, and we were doing 6-man heats and we were double banking. So there was 12 people out in the lineup, and sure enough, both banks were merging together. So
peaky waves merging into one another.
Zach was about to have some kind of medical episode at times.
I was calling aneurysm by midday.
Yeah, it was heavy.
Luckily, the double banking stopped. But yeah, that's the weekend wrap up. And then it was funny enough, in the judging panel, you were sitting next to me, and I think there was a moment where I flipped your phone down because you had pipe up.
Yes.
And someone kept going, oh, how's this one? And because the waves out the front, in front of us, were actually pumping. Waves were spitting barrels.
Yeah.
And someone would go, how's this one?
Yeah.
And I didn't know where the fuck to look. So that's a bit of a segue into what we're going to talk about today.
The pipe wrap up.
The pipe wrap up. It is done and dusted for 2025. And it was a pretty controversial one.
Yeah.
Straight off to a big old juicy plot twist.
Yeah, and we love it. We'll get to the final. We'll cover the early bits before we get to the final because that's probably the juiciest part of
the juicy part of the fruit.
Yeah, we'll cover that last. You had some comments you wanted to raise though on some of the WSL mug shots that they put up for the competitors in each heat.
I forgot. I felt like I had a great segue, but I didn't nail the execution. That's all right. Circling back, we've got another year on the tour and another round of shit photos. What is the go with what happens in Hawaii? They go to Turtle Bay, they do their awards night, but I'm pretty sure before they roll in, they have to get their mugshots for the year.
Yep.
And unfortunately, some athletes are stuck with them for 12 months.
Yep.
I would love to, we should call Connor or something to be like, mate, what's going on here? Because I'm under the impression they walk in, they get one shot, and then you're out. So if it's shit, tough titties.
Bad luck. Well,
that's 12
You'd
months.
hope that's the case because some of them are shocking and like you'd want to change them immediately if that was possible.
Yep. So look, quickly, I'm not going to go through everyone. So Finley.
Sorry about that, guys. We've got this really annoying family of butcher birds that's moved into our vicinity and they decided about, 6 o'clock every night to come and start chirping
They
for
are annoying.
non-stop, so I just had to go and scare them. We'll
That's
continue with the WSL mug shots because that's where we left off.
New faces on tour.
Yep.
I feel like they suffer more.
Yes.
The veterans always look the same. They're all good.
Yep.
They're well-rounded at that aspect. They must just walk in, one shot, out, straight onto the beers. Not the same for Al Cleland.
No.
Not sure what he's feeling there. I'm not sure he knows what he's feeling there. So
And we'll insert all these photos here for those watching on YouTube.
correct. Cole Houshman staring through my soul right now. I'm pretty sure he's on the webcam. It looks like he's staring at me and I've just questioned something that he doesn't like. Our good friend Connor looks like he may be wearing a wig. David Silver, I don't think he slept 3 days before that photo.
He's been on a bender for sure.
He has. Going back through Philippe Toledo, looks like he's out of a horror movie. George Patar, literally just, I have no words. Going to leave it at that. Jack Robinson saw a ghost, although I'm not really sure if he knows what's going on. And last but not least, Yago Dora, a few spliffs before that one. He looks slightly under the influence of the grass, in my opinion.
He does.
Any notables for you on there?
Look, Yago's a cracker. Also, Imai looks like he's sort of going in for a peck, almost. He looks like he's sort of seen...
Yes, very sexual.
Can you see that? I just sort of scrolled past him.
I liked it. It looks like he's going in for the kill.
Bit of blue steel about him. But yeah, that's kind of it for the WSL photos. We just noticed them quite
They come up when they surf.
They are quite abrupt, don't they? They just pop up here and they're just looking at you. And there's some pretty scary ones, as we touched on.
The girls look great,
Yeah.
I don't think. Actually, Erin Brooks looks upset.
She looks angry?
For the fucking year she's just had, she just doesn't look that happy.
Yeah, didn't make much money last year, eh?
No, not at all.
Not that much.
Not enough. And Katie Simmers looks 12. Like, it looks like a school photo.
She looks like Harry O'Brien, but we'll leave it there again.
Oh, good call.
Look, we'll go straight from that into the event.
Yes.
We just want to touch on, and again, we'll get to him because he did very well. But you had some thoughts on Barron's 10 that he got.
Yeah, I was actually lost for words when I watched it. That takeoff there's no harder takeoff, in my opinion. You just can't position yourself in any worse of a position and still make the wave.
Yeah. And I think that wave with an easy entry, it's not a 10. The drop is what makes it 10-point ride.
Yeah.
It's all of it.
The barrel was sensational, but it wasn't the moneymaker.
He wasn't that deep in the pit. Like, he definitely gets covered. But if he like sort of rolled into that nice and easy and sort of just stalled into it, it's maybe a 7 or an 8.
Yeah.
Whereas that drop under the lip that late was incredible, and they had no other option. They just had to throw a 10 at it.
And I think the way he did it was there was no moments of like, I don't think he's going to make this drop. It just looked controlled.
Yeah.
It's
controlled
aspect
chaos.
of the wave that shouldn't be.
No, he should have. 99% of the population is going head first over the falls with their board in that situation, whereas he's just absolutely knifed it, made it to the bottom, pulled his rail up, and gone straight through the thing.
I think that's wave of the event, in my opinion.
I agree. There was another 10 in the event though. Jack Robbo, you had some other thoughts on him. I actually thought for the day, I think they had to give that a 10. That was probably the biggest backdoor wave I've nearly seen that stayed open and was makeable.
It had that first big section, almost looked backwashy in a way.
Yeah, it sort of like
real big.
Bubbled up
It
almost,
bubbled up.
and then like compressed a little bit.
But it didn't have that like thickness that I was looking for.
Yeah, it wasn't a thick one, but they had to because of how tall it was. It was such a tall wave.
I just didn't, if you compare Barron's to Jack's, I just don't think they're both 10s.
Yeah, well, comparatively, Barron's is better, I feel, just with that drop alone. But on their day, they both had merit. They were both incredible rides. We'll go into our picks. So, not the best showing from me. I'm really not happy about yours, and we'll go into that soon. Mine, I picked John, which, fair play to him. He ran into on fire Barron, who was the eventual winner of the event, so you can't do much there.
Can I jump in on John?
Yeah.
he was your pick, but my pick, I didn't choose him, and the reason I didn't choose him because I didn't want it to be a John show because
Right.
the last 2 months
So
have
you
been a
wanted
John
John.
show. So my not official pick of John not getting a John show, if that makes sense, paid off.
Yeah, fair. Well, but that was my winner. So I picked John for the win. And then I went for Jolly Vaughan as my dark horse. And he actually did quite well for me, I thought. Like, a couple of slow hits to get going. But then when he really got into the draw, I think he was around a 32 heat, 8.83 on that left against
I
Geordie
think he
Smith.
did well.
He definitely sort of announced himself as
Yep.
as someone on tour who's meant to be there. That's why I picked him. I knew he'd go. I was pretty confident that if the wave came, he'd swing on it and go, and he did.
Yeah.
8.83, beat Geordie Smith, who owns a house in front of Pipe. I think that's a pretty good thing. And then
News is out. Joel Vaughan has big hooners.
He does. And then my girls, I had Molly, who did really well, made the semis, lost to Katie.
Your girls.
My girls.
Sound like a pimp.
And then Bella Kenworthy, who went like a busted ass. Although she did have a knee brace on. Maybe that played some factor into it, but she looked no good at all.
Right.
She looked awful. They were my picks, not the best. And then we'll throw to you with some of the weakest picks I've ever seen in my life.
You're still dribbling on about my picks.
And Zach, before or after this episode releases, I'm not sure. It's going to be in the next few days. Zach will be eating 5 McPlant burgers from McDonald's. That's been decided by the listeners. You've voted, and he will be eating 5 McPlants because Kelly Slater is not a dark horse at Pipeline. Continue.
Kelly Slater is 53 years of age, and he was surfing near-death conditions.
Yeah.
Therefore, in my opinion,
Yeah, for sure.
he is a dark horse.
Definitely. Yeah, and then your winner, who was your pick to win?
My pick to win, I think I went Yago.
No, you went Griff, I think.
I went Griff.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that they both didn't win.
No.
So yeah, that was pretty shit.
Yeah.
But on the other women's side, I went, my dark horse actually pulled through. You're going to hate this, and someone else is probably going to hate this, but yeah, Tyler Wright was the dark horse.
Yeah.
If you didn't listen to our other episode about this, the reason why she wasn't a dark horse is because she hasn't been in that fresh wave, that limelight that you'll call it, that has been around women's surfing for the last maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
Of the Erin Brooks, Katie Simmers, Molly Picklums, etc.
Yeah.
She has been outside that conversation.
She has.
Therefore, I believe that's a slight dark horse. Again, I know she's won there before and whatnot, but when you've got only select few of women to choose from, someone's not going to be happy with your crew. Your choice.
She's more of a dark horse than Kelly Slater. I'll give you that.
Yep. So Tyler pulled through, got that one. I'll take that as.
So
a win.
you did better than me in the picks.
Also, I just wanted to say, Erin Brooks, I would love to see how many people lost money on that.
Yeah. Well, the forecast really didn't look after her.
Regardless, I feel like the amount of hype that she's had, so many people's fantasy teams would have just suffered.
Yeah. Well, it was hard being a goofy footer at this event, apart from everyone aside from pretty much Anne Gavea proved that.
The Gov.
The Goovy, which we'll get into as well. Yeah, well, I think that's kind of it for that. We'll go into him right now, actually, because I picked a few surprises and a few disappointments from this event. So people that surprised me, and I thought they did quite well, and then also a few people that, not going to say I'm disappointed in them, because I don't know, I'm from a bar of soap, but I think it's more to do with their results and how they'd be feeling about this result at this point in time. Start off with the surprises, though. Our man Goovy, who we just touched on. Semi-final finish. Really, really good showing from Ian. We didn't mock him, but we brought him up recently in an episode where we compared him to Gru off Despicable Me. And look, he got a bit of attention from us on that, not more so for his voice than his surfing, but he really pushed through in this event. And semi-finals berth beat Al Cleland in easy fashion, 9 and a 7, got past Ryan in the early round, and then had Kelly in the quarterfinals, all at backdoor. There wasn't any lefts, and he got the job done over him. He did find a left in that heat, mind you, but really impressive backhand tube riding right throughout the event. Great result for him. Surprised a lot of people. He looks really comfortable. And some very interesting equipment choice as well, mind you. He had, I don't know if you heard this.
I haven't.
You hadn't?
No.
No, well, because I wrote this on the notes. He had, I don't know the actual name of the company that makes it, nor the name of the technology, but essentially it's shark skin. So in hydrodynamics, and I've looked into this because this is...
I'm lost at hydrodynamics.
Yeah, golf. So golf is an example of that. That's why golf balls have dimples in them, because it makes them more aerodynamic. They're able to pass through the air in a more efficient fashion. Similar with...
Then why aren't planes?
I don't know, mate. You worked in an airport. But in water, it's the same thing. So if you have a dimpled surface, it actually allows...
Then why aren't 3D fins fucking huge then?
I don't know, mate. That's why they would have made them. It's exactly the reason
and that's why they ain't making them anymore.
Well, Ian Gavea could be proving him wrong there, because he had a skin on the bottom of his surfboards. I think it's called shark skin or something. Basically a rough surface on the bottom of his surfboard, which is sort of counterintuitive because you think that's going to slow you down. But the way it all works, that actually makes you go faster. And I guarantee you there'd be probably over 95% of the tour, you show them that and they're going to go, I'm not putting that anywhere near my surfboard.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if you assign this shark skin to his third place result. If you do, I'm turning the mic off and I'm out.
Mate, it doesn't matter. He got third with that on his board. So if it went bad...
I don't see any correlation.
Well,
I think you could have a giant penis fucking logo on his board and he's probably going to get third. And that doesn't mean that at Abu Dhabi everyone's rocking up with a big cock on the bottom of their board.
I don't think it's gonna happen either. But it's just something interesting to note. He actually had a shark skin on the bottom of his board.
It's fucking weird.
It's very weird.
Can I just jump in?
Yeah.
No one knows this, but turns out filming and doing a podcast is quite hard. And we have one episode that won't ever see the light of day.
Yeah, sure.
You have to promise to tell the truth here because we can't actually pull this up.
Yeah.
I said that Goovy was going to win the Pipe Masters and you roasted me so much that you said, I don't think we can even put that in. And look what he just fucking did.
That wasn't the reason that we didn't post the episode, but
there was dribble.
You had Gavea in your top 5 as well, which
I had Goovy to win Pipe and in the top 5.
Basically what happened was...
And guess what? Right now he's in the top 5 and he almost fucking won.
We pretty much started the episode and I'd done a bit of research on who I'd thought and Zach sort of didn't do that.
I had zero time.
He had no idea.
And you asked me, camera was rolling, mics were on, and I freaked out and said Goovy.
He picked Ian Gavea and his top 5 was incredible. And like Zach said, it will never see the light of day. You will never hear of this episode.
The reason why we won't is because I was so tired after work that you asked me a question. I don't think I answered it.
No, I was
half asleep.
It was a shocker. So that one's gone. But mate, you would have looked like a genius because
I would have looked great.
Third place finish for Goovy. Great start to the season for him. Really promising result because probably again not a guy that I don't even know if we picked him. We'll have to do when we do our mid-season review. We'll have a look, but don't know if it's a guy that we said would make the tour, the cut. But really good start for him. And
well, he's above it right now.
Yeah,
it's early days.
It's he's already done a lot of the damage that he needs to already. The next surprise I had was Georgie Pitta. Believe the highest placing Australian in the event.
Also the deepest voice.
Deepest voice. Quarterfinal finish. Yet to see him surf a bad CT event. He's had 3 opportunities now. He had 2
That's
wild
true.
cards.
That is true.
He
so
is just performing on the biggest stage every time. Beat Kanoa, 14 points against him. Smoked Griff, which is a bit of an accomplishment out there because the waves are pretty macking. And
well, I had Griff to win.
You had Griff to win. Many people would have not given Georgia hope in that heat, and he smoked him. Both Kanoa and Griff very unafraid and very good competitive surfers, so they're both going to spin and go if a wave comes. And he got past both of them, so saw himself get to a quarterfinal finish, which was really good to see. So he started off the year really strongly. And my other one was Jakey Marshall. He is proving more and more how well-rounded he is as a surfer. So he's a guy that's sort of been floating, sort of neither here nor there. I think he qualified and then fell off. Interesting story about him too, a few years ago when he first qualified for the tour. And this is public, so you may or may not have heard of this. He actually threw a party for a qualification party, and he didn't qualify. They did the maths wrong.
Fuck, that hurts.
Yeah, so he actually...
Please tell me they made shirts and a fucking banner.
Mate, they threw a big old haymaker of a party, and he did not qualify.
That's huge.
They done the maths wrong. So that's just a little snippet for people that hadn't heard of that.
You're
But
going to have to show me. You said photo
I
evidence.
don't have this photo evidence, but it's pretty common knowledge, I think, that he,
Was that through a primary source or secondary?
No,
third?
it's like they said it on the webcast.
On the WSL one?
Yeah.
Fuck it, that'll do. So if anyone's fucking angry out there, blame Joe Chappelle.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's horrific.
It's pretty...
That's PTSD territory.
Mate, it's hard to come back from that one. But he is, like I said, he's proven how well-rounded of a surfer he is. He's good in big waves, small waves, barreling waves. He's really good surfer to watch.
I'm not going to agree.
What are you not agreeing
He's had
with?
too much time to fucking change my mind. Sorry, Jake.
Well, this is my surprise, not yours. So
Yeah, sorry.
you can jam it, mate. Beat Ian Gentile, Hawaiian. Beat Philippe. So both not really, again, noted pipe surfers, but it was the way that he did it. He was super confident in his approach. So he, not massive scores, but when the wave came at the end of the heat, 2 times in a row, buzzer beaters, he got the score when he needed it, and the wave came and he swung and he went and he got it done. So it was really impressive to watch. I think he made the round of 16. He didn't quite crack the quarterfinals, but another good showing for him.
Well, he got 5th.
Did he? Did he make quarters or
Are you talking about Jake Marshall?
Jake Marshall?
Jake Marshall got 5th.
There you go. Well, that's a quarterfinal finish then. So he, into the quarters. That's a really good start for him. And lost to Barron, Barron had 14.5 points, I think, and Jake had 14. So could have gone either way, really, that one. Then to some crew that, like to say, will be disappointed with their result. I'm going to put Jack Robinson and Griffin together.
Yep.
Both lost in the round of 32. Really poor result here for both of them. This is an event where Griff looking at quarters, I think, and minimum, and Robbo's looking at semis minimum.
Well, Jack won in 2023, so you'd have to think he's going to be in that top 9 picture for most of the events.
Yeah. And another thing to note as well, both knocked by rookies. So Robbo knocked by Al Cleland with a 10-point ride, and Griff knocked by Pitta. So they're not going to be guys that are going to have any issues, I don't think, re-qualifying, but it's just a really shocking result for them to start the year with. Straight away, it's a throwaway. The other guy was Seth Moniz, round of 16. So for some people, that's a great showing. But
not for your backyard.
Not for him. He was again just didn't really show up this event. Like he didn't have any highlights really. He was just there. Got to round 16.
On many people's sports bet. And many people would have been DMing him saying you lost me fucking $40 or something.
Well, he lost to Italy, and Italy's not an easy beat, but still, like Seth would be looking at this event as one to get quarters or semis in for sure. Mm-hmm. And for him as well, this is an event that he has to capitalize on because like the schedule's not really super set up for him. I don't feel like he needs to do well in the waves that he's good at. This is one of them, and he's not had. It sort of is, but it's not a keeper result. It could come in handy, but he's going to need a few more of these. The other one was...
I think he'll end up keeping it.
You reckon so?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
16 is not too bad.
Oh, for him, he's probably looking at a quarter would be much nicer for him at this point. Geordie Smith, again, lost to a rookie. Could have thrown him in really with Robbo and Griff, all losing to rookies. Lost to Joel Vaughan in around 32. Has a house there, so... Probably should have been making that one. Jalchienka, what could have been? Round of 16. He was in my fantasy team. He's an absolute maniac. Should have really been, again, progressing to the quarterfinals minimum. He lost with a priority interference to Miguel Pupo, which sucks. Like he's easy making that heat. If not, I think he had the highest wave. He needed like a 4 in the end, but without the interference. With the interference, he needed a 10 to progress. But he would have been in my sort of top 3 to win that event. He's a menace out there. Real missed opportunity for him. And then, that's sort of it. Like there's obviously more surfers in that event that would be sort of a bit disappointed with themselves. And there'd be crew like your Leos who were really happy with that result, but they didn't really surprise me. Like I had Leo in my fantasy team. I thought he was good.
I think that's a dark horse though. No one else has got him in his fucking fantasy team.
I don't know. He's had second place there before.
Was it over 6 foot?
Maybe not. But that's we'll go straight into that then because Leo's the guy. He made the final with Ronnie B and they tied in the final. What do you like? How?
I just rewatched the final. without fucking going in
And
clicking
can I just get
waves.
in there first? We haven't talked. We specifically said when we got in the room here, I don't want to know how you thought that final went. It's just, let's just save it for the pod. I'll let you go first, and then I'm going to come back at you with what I reckon.
Okay, I'm going to rip the band-aid off. Barron Miya won that final.
Okay.
And there is only two things that... There's one question, sorry, and it's a subjective question, but I truly believe it's what it came down to.
Yep.
And it is, do you prefer, that's for you and the listeners, someone who stalls through a barrel or races through a barrel?
Correct.
And when I say race through a barrel, I don't mean fucking leggy barrel the whole thing, but on the fucking...
You're deep.
On the hooter, just pushing through.
Steep and deep.
Yeah. There's no downtime. There's no, I'll call, manufacturing.
Yep.
You're just straight through.
Pedal to the metal. If you stop pumping, you will fall off.
Now, the question is that harder than stalling and controlling your speed a little more? Mm-hmm. And that's why I picked Barron.
Yep.
Now, to sound very counterintuitive, is that the word? Don't even know. I find when people have the ability to stall and then gain speed in the one barrel,
It's impressive.
that trumps both.
Sure.
Leo didn't do that.
Right.
For the most part, I really studied the water shot, and for the most part, he was on the brakes.
Yeah.
And for me, personally, feels better and looks better if you're charging through and you're on the foam ball.
Yep.
Because that means, in my opinion, you've positioned yourself in a more difficult spot.
Sure.
Did I think that Barron's 8-point right at pipe was an 8? On the fence.
Cool.
Should he have won the comp? Yes, because he was Mr. fucking MVP. He absolutely smoked everyone else. So I think, in my opinion, I can totally understand, and you're probably going to say the complete opposite, but I do believe that Barron won that heat.
You're right. I'm going to say the complete opposite.
Thank you very much.
He, again, Mr. MVP, my MVP of the event for sure. Top 3 of the 4 highest heat totals.
Fuck, do you reckon that's got to count for something in the back
I don't
of
know.
Judge Five's brain?
Maybe.
When he fucking ruined Leo's life?
Yeah, it's like 17, I think 2 17.97s and an 18 point something heat total. Like, absurd.
They were all above 17.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was the only one, except for John.
So, like, that's 2 8.5s.
Yeah.
Minimum. So, incredible. MVP of the event for sure. I think Leo won the final, though, for
Talk
the
me through
following reasons. I think you make a very valid point there with pumping through a barrel versus stalling for a barrel. I just feel like I think they got the 3 scores correct. I think they got Leo's score perfect. I think they got Barron's first score perfect. So his backdoor wave is 9.8. Great. Didn't care about that because I think there had to be some separation there between Leo and Barron's wave, just based on how manufactured Leo's score was. Not to say it wasn't good, because it was amazing. He was in that pit for like 3. They did the side by side, and like Leo's in the barrel before and after Barron for like a good couple seconds.
That matters too much.
Length of barrel's a factor though, but I'm agreeing with you in that Barron's wave should have been 9.8. Leo's wave should have been a 9.1. I don't think that was the score that they ripped it off on. I think the score that they ripped him off on was Barron's first one. I think they put way too much credit based on the 10 that he got yesterday. I think they went, oh crap, we have to score, because he did a very similar drop on that wave. The only difference was that wave was like 4 foot or whatever, however big, it's 4 to 6 foot rather than 8 to 10 foot. That was the decisive.
Oh, it was solid 6 foot.
Yeah, like I watched it sort of while I was working down the shot, but he, it was, put it this way, it wasn't anywhere near as big as the wave he caught yesterday.
No, 2 different days.
2 different days, but I think they put way too much emphasis on him going pipe on his back end and taking a late drop, because he didn't really get that barreled on that wave. I think the backdoor waves that they were getting were far deeper in, and it's got longer barrels in. I think that was the score they stuffed up on, and I think if you look at that,
but they didn't stuff up on. It's the first wave. It's the toughest.
Well, they stuffed up in that they went too high straight away. They didn't leave themselves any room to go higher, and they had to throw Barron's wave a 9.8 because it was so much better than his first one. And then I think they just ended up
boxed in.
They really had to condense themselves with Leo's score. Both his scores, sorry, they were very close together. And one of Leo's wave was definitely a lot better than the other one. So I think what they did wrong was just they went way too hard on Barron's first pipe wave, giving that an 8. I think that should have been more in the 7 range, and then that would have meant you wouldn't have had this situation. And Leo would have had his pipe master that it's not pipe masters anymore, but it is to me. He would have had his pipe trophy that he's been after. This is the second time he's got second, and to need a 9.11 and get a 9.1 is absolutely heartbreaking.
I don't think a tie. If you have the world's best alleged judges, there should not be a tie.
You can't tell me 0.001 played a factor into both of those waves. You can't say...
No. Spend extra time on fucking crunching the numbers.
Yeah, 4 waves. You cannot say there is there is not 0.001 difference in any of those waves. No. You got to come up with a result there in the final.
I think all that does now is all the fucking tin hat wearers come out and say that now WSL want to write a script.
Yeah.
And it just takes away from what really should be happening is just good quality surfing, good quality judging. I'm strongly opinioned that, on a WSL final, shouldn't be it.
You can't be having a tie.
No.
And you made some interesting observations about the judge.
I fucking crunched the numbers.
Go on.
And I think a lot of people have.
Yeah.
And lucky they're anonymous. They just come up with a little flag. The Hawaiian judge gave Leo the score of a 9.2.
Yeah.
He gave the highest score out of 5 judges. Another judge gave him 9.2, so the exact same score.
Yeah.
2 judges went 8.8.
Yeah.
One was the Brazilian judge, who I believe was the last one to put it in.
Drop the score.
So if there's anyone out there saying that Hawaiians rigged it, I don't think they did. And I was shocked, but so stoked to see that the Hawaiian actually gave the nod to Leo.
Yep.
Interestingly, though, the Brazilian judge was the only one to throw a 10 for Barron's one. So now I'm more confused about the judging and whether... I would have to assume that there's a head judge up there really just dangling the puppet strings up there.
Yeah.
And great to see that it wasn't
the judges
Hawaiian
don't
push.
They don't convene. They don't talk to each other. You've got 5 judges all in separate booths. They score the wave how they see it. The head judge is there to advise.
No, I disagree. There's one judge and it's a head judge.
Yeah, well, the head judge has as much say as he wants to have on these waves. But they're not talking to each other going, he needs a 9.1. You've given him a 9.2. I'm going to give him an 8.8, and it'll average out at a 9. They're not.
No, but when you've got that score and you've got one to lock in, they already know what the average will be.
Yeah, sure.
So that's where the tin hat comes into play.
Yeah.
If you leave one score out, that means they're trying to identify something.
Sure.
You cannot tell me that.
And it took them a long time to drop it too. There was one that 4 judges dropped their scores very quickly, and the 5th judge took an awful long time to drop his score.
Exactly. So that's where the conspiracy comes out.
Yeah.
Although, I think it went the right way.
I think Leo should have won. I think Barron probably was, like you said, the MVP. I don't care that he won because he showed throughout the entire event that he deserved to win. Mm-hmm. But I think in the final, Leo's 2 waves were better than Barron's 2 waves.
That was so close. That's
very close. And that showed in the
There's
fact
no
that it was
one,
a tie. But
no one is saying that Leo, surfed bad or Barron surfed bad. They both did exceptionally well. And I really wanted to highlight the camaraderie that I have for Leo. His ability, that 35-minute heat.
Yep.
He didn't catch a substantial wave until 15 or 16 minutes in.
Yeah.
And then he got another one with 90 seconds after that.
Yeah.
So he effectively had a 2-minute heat.
Yeah. Yeah.
No waves before, no waves after of any consequence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it was impressive to watch, and I may not have been financially invested in that heat, i.e. on Leo, and that I'm not letting.
Did you have some money on?
No, maybe. But we will leave that there because I was watching it and just going, this is the worst bet anyone's ever placed in their life. And got to like you said, 15 minutes. He hadn't done anything. And then he got that first one, I think 887 or something, kicked out. And I'm like, we got a heat here.
15. So you had money on Leo?
I did. And
don't tell us what the...
It wasn't a large amount and it wasn't a huge return, but okay. I did have a little dabble there. And it was
Oh, so no fucking wonder
no.
Barron didn't win in your eyes.
Yeah, no. I've kind of I don't care. It wasn't that much money, and it also wasn't to win much. I also genuinely don't care. But it was. I think for him, like you mentioned, to get to 15 minutes and still go. I've got the best surfer in this event in my heat right now. He's already put nearly 18 points on me, and to still give himself a shot and in my opinion, arguably take that shot and win is pretty impressive.
He's got nerves of steel.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would not have coped with that.
No.
He's got home ground. Every time Barron fucking farts, someone's going to clap. And Leo stands up and no one says anything. So, that is so hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And the fact that he allegedly won the event and came back from the depths is very, very impressive in my opinion.
Yeah, and we put it out to our Instagram page too to see what they thought. We put a poll up and came back actually in Leo's favour quite significantly too. I think we had 50 votes. It was 70 odd % thought Leo actually won the heat. So interesting to note there. And then we go to our, like I say, that's our sort of pipe rundown review, etc. for the first event of the year. All in all, a really good event. It started off and it couldn't have been any angrier. They had five lay days in a row, and I was losing it because I love watching this stuff. And just to wake up, for us here in Australia, the event calls
4 hours.
Well, it's a different day in completely, but it's about when we wake up. I think they make the call at 4 or 5 a.m. and then we wake up and it's running, so it's perfect. But to wake up at say sort of 8 o'clock, 7 or 8 o'clock, and just to go, oh yes, I'm gonna turn my lappy on, watch pipe, let's go, and then it's off for the 5th day in a row, and you're just going, come on. So, and another thing to note as well, I think it's the last time we ever look at a forecast for an event because that was absolutely ridiculous.
That was pointless.
Well, maybe we could look at a forecast for Abu Dhabi.
I'd rather get an infant with crayons to draw a fucking graph and then say that was it, because it was just so up, down, change.
We had it really bad. Then we had it, it's going to be good on the first few days. Then we just left it at that, and then it was worst pipe ever for they got 1 day and it was awful for the first week, and then right at the end it really saved it. That second last day of surfing was one of the best days of pipe I can remember. Pipe and backdoor. Some waves that went down were just insane. So yeah, look, me and you won't be doing any forecasting anytime soon. I heard
on the forecast that one of the buoys, or for our American viewers out there, buoys was broken, and hence why
they had 4 different forecasts.
Not really giving any accurate data.
Yeah. Well, like I mentioned before, Abu Dhabi's next, and thankfully for us, we will not have to look at a forecast because there's going to be 6 foot and offshore the whole time. So don't stress.
There's going to be Lambos parked out the front.
4 foot and offshore, maybe. Then we'll go into... We've got to give these guys their flowers. Our fantasy competition, which has got, I think, just under 60 people in it. So it's not a small one.
Don't guess, because we know how many's in it.
58. We know how many's in it because...
And why do we know that?
Because you, my friend, are 2 spots off the very bottom.
Correct.
You're 56, and there's 58 people. Mind you, 58th position did not submit a team.
Yep, so I'm second last.
You're second last.
We'll just call it a bot.
I, on the other hand, have sort of created some credibility for this podcast and what we're talking about. I came in 7th. I feel that's fairly respectable.
That's great. You're making the cut.
Yeah, I'm making the cut.
We should do a real life cut in fantasy.
Yeah, we've just cut. You're gone, Ray. You're in all sorts.
I can climb back. I'm going to do a Leo.
You'll come back.
Yeah.
But we'll give these guys their chockies. The top 3 for the pipe event. 3rd place, Paul Southern, fan of the pod.
Yep.
Good on him.
Paul.
On your Paul. 2nd place, Tully McLean.
Nicely done, Tal.
Very well done, Tull. And then in 1st place, Andy Irvine.
Mr. Smiles, happiest man alive.
What a man. So he's going into Abu Dhabi in the Jeep yellow leaders jersey, whatever the spiel is that they came up with.
We could maybe get him a Rashi from Liba.
We might have to probably hit up Jeep for some some ad spend there because we can't be dropping that down.
Not for free, mate.
No, we don't. No freebies around here. So well done to those three. They're leading the charge, and everyone else is chasing them down.
I'm coming from the long way back.
You're like Winks though. This is for anyone that's out there that's fan of horse racing. Zach is pretty much Winks. He likes to sit at the back of the pack, and then he peels out with sort of 300-400 meters to go and just goes straight past.
A bit like my lead bar round one.
Exactly right. Just came out of the gates a little bit. Although you didn't really start slow, did you? I think you got second your first heat.
No, I got first in my first one.
Oh, did you?
I posted on my story. I was like fucking happy.
Actually, you were stoked with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a. But my last two scores were the keepers. So
Right. I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our pipe wrap up. We will be back within the next week. Not sure on the day yet. You've got a trip to Japan booked that you're very excited about.
I am very excited.
So we'll release this one probably like Wednesday, I think. You'll know when it's out. I can plug the socials, but they're not going to know until it's out anyway. So this one will probably be out Wednesday, and then we're going to go straight into Abu Dhabi one, and then we'll post that just before the event. So that'll be our next episode. But for the time being, thanks for listening in again.
Thank you.
We'll leave you guys to it, and we'll see you soon.
See you at Abu Dhabi.
See you at Abu Dhabi. Bye-bye.